Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're getting into medical coding, we're about to dive into a topic that can sometimes feel like a real maze, the CPT guidelines for thoracoscopy, or, as you'll almost always see it, VATs, VATs. My goal here is super simple, to give you a clear map so you can navigate these rules with total confidence.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the absolute basics. What even is VATs? Then we'll cover the golden rule you just can't forget. We'll get into how to pick the right code when multiple things are done, and of course the exceptions to that rule. We'll wrap it all up with a quick checklist that you can use every single time. By the end of this, you'll be all set. All right, first things first. Before we can even dream of picking a code, we've got to understand what the surgeon actually did, right? So when you see VATs on that operative report, what does it mean? Let's build that foundation right now. Okay, this is probably the most important concept to get right from the start. VATs isn't one specific procedure. It's the approach. It's how the surgeon does the work. Instead of a big, open incision, they're using a tiny camera, that's the thoracoscope, and special tools to do surgery inside the chest. They can do anything this way, from a tiny biopsy all the way to removing a huge chunk of the lung.
Okay, seriously, if you only remember one thing from our entire chat today, please make it this. This is the absolute golden rule of VATS coding, and it will save you from so many common mistakes down the road. Let's make this super simple. Think about it like ordering a combo meal. You get the burger, the fries, and the drink all for one price. You wouldn't pay for the combo and then pay for the drink separately, would you? Of course not. The drink is included. Well, in VATS coding, the surgical procedure is the combo meal, and the diagnostic part, the just looking around part, is the drink. It's automatically included. And this slide just nails that point home. If the doctor does a surgical VATS and a diagnostic one, you only code for the surgical part. I mean, it makes sense, right? A surgeon has to look around to see what they're doing before they can perform the actual surgery. It's a necessary step. So CPT just bundles it all together. You only code the main event.
So that's pretty straightforward when it's just looking versus doing. But what happens when the surgeon does multiple surgical things in the same go? This is where what I call the hierarchy rule becomes your best friend.
The CPT guidelines could not be clearer about this. If all the action is happening in the same neighborhood, like, say, the upper lobe of the right lung, you have to figure out which procedure was the biggest, the most complex one. And that's the only one you report. You don't get to list out all the smaller steps that led up to the big one.
This chart lays it out perfectly. Look at that first example. A lobectomy is removing a whole lobe of the lung. That's a huge deal compared to a tiny biopsy. So you only code the lobectomy. Same logic for the next one. A segmentectomy is way more involved than a little wedge biopsy. You always code the most extensive procedure for that location. You knew it was coming, didn't you? For every major rule in medical coding, there's always an important exception. So now that we've got the hierarchy rule down, let's talk about when you actually can code for more than one procedure. This is the magic question you have to ask yourself every time you read an op report. We just said that if it's in the same area, you code the biggest one. But what if the surgeon takes a wedge from the upper lobe and then takes another wedge from the lower lobe, or one from the right lung and one from the left?
This is your mental checklist. First, you read that report and you find the locations. Are they in different lobes of the same lung, or maybe the opposite lung entirely? If the answer is yes, then bingo. You can report each procedure. But, and this is so important, you have to add modifier 59 to the second procedure. That's your signal to the insurance company that says, hey, this isn't a mistake, these were two separate procedures in two separate places.
All right, let's talk about something called unbundling, or really how to avoid it. This is a list of things that are just considered part of the deal for any VATS procedure. A lot of new coders get tripped up here, so let's make sure that's not you.
I mean, just think about it logically for a second. How could a surgeon possibly perform a VATS procedure without using the camera, or without making the incision to get inside the chest, or without looking around? All of this stuff, the camera work, the access, the basic inspection, it's all baked into the value of the main CPT code. Trying to bill for them separately is a big no-no.
Phew, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's lock it all in with a rapid-fire checklist. Think of this as your cheat sheet to make sure you've got this down cold. First up, you know what I'm going to say. Remember the combo meal? A surgical procedure always, and I mean always, includes the diagnostic part. Never, ever code them both. Number 2 is that hierarchy rule. When you've got multiple procedures happening in the same spot, you play king of the hill. You find the biggest, most extensive one, and that's the only code that goes on the claim.
Number 3 is your exception. Modifier 59 is your best friend when the work is done in different places, like different lobes or the other lung. It's how you tell the story that more than one distinct procedure was medically necessary.
And finally, number 4, don't unbundle. All the setup work, the camera, getting inside the chest, the general look around, it's all part of the package deal. Don't even think about coding for it separately.
And there you have it. That's your map through the VATs coding maze. By remembering that golden rule, applying the hierarchy, knowing when to use your modifier and what's always bundled, you're not just memorizing rules, you're actually learning to think like an expert coder. Keep this checklist handy, and you are going to be coding these reports with confidence in no time.